I haven't heard from that Richard's not coming, so I think we give him a couple of minutes.
Yeah, it's so yucky out. Maybe he just got
Yep.
caught up in some traffic. Yeah.
Are you gonna announce the consultants in here with us?
Yeah, I'll do the
You'll do everything
I'll do
up-
the attendance.
do
and
the whole thing.
minutes, And I'll,
You hear us okay? Good.
and then I don't see, and does that mean Susan is not
She's
on
gonna
yet?
be on Zoom. She told me she was gonna be on Zoom.
Okay.
She was in the office.
I don't see her yet. But with a short agenda, I would say let's wait 3 or 4 minutes if we need to for Richard, and then if he's not here, we'll start. How does that sound?
Sounds like a plan.
We'll wait a couple minutes.
Sure.
Yeah.
I know when you guys are ready, we're going and ready to live.
Great, thanks. The bathroom then. Sure.
Oh.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
thank you for the effort. Okay, we might as well start.
Yeah, there's
So,
no reason
okay.
not to.
All right, so then, if you're ready, LMC TV.
We're ready.
Okay, and then Brittany, are we all set from you?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so welcome, everybody. This is the January 25th, 2023 meeting of the Village of Mamaroneck Planning Board. Just a notice for the few of us that are here to please turn off any electronic devices and that we have fire exits on each side of the room marked by the exit signs. Would anyone like to motion to open the meeting?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Second, and all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we have a short agenda today. And so first I will just take attendance for the record. In person here, we have our land use secretary, O'Neill. We have 4 members of the planning board, myself, Phil Bitzner, Mallory Chin, and Cindy Goldstein. Richard Littman's not here now, and so if he comes in later, we can make note of that. And then on Zoom, we have a few of our consultants, Alicia Moore from AKRF, John Kellard from Kellard Sessions, Susan Oakley from TBLD are on the Zoom, and we of course have our attorney, Mary Desmond, here with us in person. I think that covers everybody, correct? Good. Okay, so welcome everybody. First order of business is approval of the minutes from our January 11th meeting. I had no comments for this time. Did any others have comments on the minutes?
Can't see me.
I had a couple, I guess, of clarifications. I don't remember who said it. I didn't get back to go to the videotape. But when we were talking about on page 2, the jurisdictional determination from DEC. Which was also, I had a note that the Army Corps was not required to be involved since it was above a 10-foot elevation. I'm sure that was one of our consultants who said that. I'm thinking maybe it was Alicia Moore from AKRF, or it could have been John.
I believe it was actually the applicant. So right above, did you note that there is the reference to the Army Corps of Engineers?
Right, but we know the question wasn't answered in the minutes, but it
Yeah,
was answered at the meeting, so I just wanted to make
Yeah,
sure
I think
that,
it was the applicant.
yeah, I think
Okay.
it was probably Jacqueline or Alan.
but they didn't speak
Right.
there. So the
It was
question.
later, if you remember, it kind of came back up.
Okay.
So that's a good point. I have it in my notes as something to just clarify the next time that they come. So
Okay.
even if we get it just noted in here, I think we can close it out if we want for the record next time.
Okay,
Um,
but I think yeah, because I looked at this and I was like, well, we don't need it. Why don't we need it? I looked at my notes and it said there was an answer.
Yeah.
I just don't know who gave it. So, what do you want to do about
well,
that?
maybe what we could do is, does Barbara amend these minutes when we finalize them?
Yep.
Barbara, if you're able or have a note of who said it and we could list it in our minutes, that'd be an amendment that I think we'd all be in favor of. If not, then perhaps we note right at the Army Corps of Engineers that later in the meeting, it was confirmed
Fine.
that
Yeah,
by the applicant that the Army Corps of Engineers.
I'm
was not-
happier with that because we
Okay.
all have the recollection and the notes that
Yeah.
it was confirmed. So rather than sort of hold them open till later, it was confirmed at the meeting that the Army Corps of Engineers review was not required since the elevation was above 10 feet.
Good with me.
Okay. Then on page 4, I think we should just elaborate when Ms. Moore was saying, we'll prepare the full analysis. That was for the pool. We had to add the pool analysis because the applicant changed the plan. Take out the pool and put in a new pool. So I think
Yep.
that
agreed.
was what
Okay.
that was for. And a little further down, Michael Stein, the second bullet, there's no reason for all of the hard surfaces to be pervious. I would like to add, because flood standards have been met.
Okay,
He
yeah.
explained that.
And it was actually an improvement. It's currently not to code, right? And it was gonna be an improvement that would bring it to code?
No, their other stormwater mitigation systems help them to achieve the
get-
standards they needed, so
Okay.
they didn't need to
Oh, I
use
see what you're saying.
pervious
Yeah, yeah.
pavement,
Okay.
In
pavement.
fact, they were reducing the amount of impervious surfaces
that's what I mean,
anyway,
yeah.
and so therefore, and he said that there's no reason everything
more.
has to be
Well,
pervious.
right.
I'm not sure it actually was a reference to because of that.
No, I asked the question,
right.
why weren't they using pervious? And he says, because we don't need to,
Yeah.
and that's because he met the standards without it. If he couldn't meet the standards, he might have to
Oh,
consider
okay.
pervious pavement. So there's that I want to elaborate. And the next bullet, I just want to put the runoff will be treated, or at least through a rain garden. Currently, it discharges, I'd like to say directly
Okay.
to the sound. Because that's, I think, what it does. And I think that matters in the analysis.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's all I had.
Okay, those, I'm supportive of all those comments.
Yep,
Anybody else
agreed.
good with those?
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Good good eye.
No typos though. Any other comments on the minutes? Okay, a motion to adopt as amended? Motion, anyone second?
I'll second.
Okay, and we can go down the line. Bill?
Aye.
Cindy?
Yes,
Mallory?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Okay, so that is our second agenda item. The last agenda item is the continued site plan review for 222 Union Ave, which I am recused from. It's a property that I own. So Cindy is again going to take over, and thank you, Cindy, as acting chair. And I will leave you guys to work on that with the applicant. Have a good night, everybody. Good to see you. Home dry, if you can.
get home before the bulk of the rain.
This is before the bulk of the rain.
Well, I think there's
Oh,
much
there's
more,
more
I think there's
coming.
much
Oh my
more
goodness.
coming. Yeah, we need a canoe to get home. All right, so this is the continuing review for site plan approval for 222 Union Avenue. The applicant seeks a site plan approval for the renovation of a single-family home with an addition in the rear as per multiple village code sections. And so we did look at this application initially on December 14th. Okay, and we had a few questions, and the architect is back to answer any questions, tell us anything that's changed.
For the record, Mason. So, yeah, so since December 14th, we were able to go in front of the architectural review board to get their approvals, and that was on December 22nd. We did favorable conditions, and then we were also able to hire an engineer to help us with the drainage part, as required for part of this application. And so we did hire an engineer. He did come up with the perk tests, and those were all submitted and looked at by your consulting engineer. I think we answered all the questions as required. That's basically it. The only thing that might come up tonight is about the drip line for the trees, which we will handle. We will make sure that the drip line is over the disturbance, the limited line of disturbance. We're going to make sure that we're protected with that snow fence and the detail that we're providing. So it's not accurately shown on the site plan as the full drip line, but we will make sure that on the site that it is covered at the drip line.
Oh, okay, so we'll hear from our consultants on these various issues. I'm suspecting that something like that will have the site, your actual drawings will have to reflect the
They do.
protection, and we can make that, we can incorporate that into the resolution.
That's already.
That the site. Yep. So we may need, I, because it hasn't been done, let's get through all this, but because it hasn't been done, we may want to pull it out of the whereas clause and put it in the last set of conditions, so it's easy for an applicant to look at what's open, you know, what has to be handled. But, okay, so I think we usually start with AKRF. Do you want to, Alicia, do you want to just tell us what, I mean, you have a short memo here. It looks like everything's cleared. Is that correct?
Yeah, that is our only comment was that since the area of disturbance has been revised, that a SWIP was submitted in compliance with the code. And so all of our concerns have been addressed. And we have no objection to site plan approval pending, of course, resolution of comments from the engineer and landscape architect.
Okay, that's great. All right, let's go to John Kellard.
Hi,
for
good evening.
engineering.
The applicant's engineer performed soil testing at the site. They found in the original location of the treatment system, they found shallow depth of bedrock. It required that the system be relocated further to the west. That relocation increased the disturbance area. If you recall, originally the disturbance was just shy of 1,000 square feet, so the applicant did not require to prepare a stormwater pollution prevention plan. But however, with the relocation of the system, the disturbance area increased to approximately 4,700 square feet, which required preparation of a SWIP, which addressed erosion control, stormwater quality, and stormwater quantity issues. The applicant's engineer prepared the SWIP, submitted it along with a stormwater plan, which addressed all the comments we had in our previous memo. We're satisfied with the submission.
And there'd been a question about the construction entrance. So has that been updated on the
Yes.
plans?
Yes, a stone construction entrance was provided just off the driveway.
Right, so they're using
On
the
the plan.
driveway and then a little additional space that will be,
For any, yeah, because they have to travel back into the site to install the infiltration system. So they provided a construction entrance in the rear yard.
you Well, the rear yard backs up to the river. I'm not sure I understand.
I should say behind the house, off the existing driveway. It extends
Okay.
off the existing driveway, just behind the rear of the house.
Okay, so you enter the site from Union using the existing driveway and then a little more space just behind the. It's all continues, the entrance continues. It's not actually coming in from another direction. It's
No,
contiguous to the driveway.
it's off of the existing driveway.
Okay,
Yes.
anybody? Well, let's sort of, anybody have anything for engineering at this point? Oh, there was one thing I saw as part of the SWIP. There's a, I guess the village requires a contract certification for the SWIP.
Yes,
that
that was included.
That was
With
blank in the SWIP appendix.
Oh,
That get filled out.
okay.
Before we issue the permit.
Yes, it's filled out like, yeah, but the form was there, correct?
Yeah, oh yeah, the form was definitely there, but
Yes.
it was
Yeah,
blank.
it's filled out because of an applicant may not have a contractor when he's proceeding through the approval process before your board. So that's usually not filled out until the building permit application process.
Building department checks that, they call for it, we get it, and we scan it in. So we do
Okay.
get that before we issue it.
Great. All right, so let's move on. Susan, do you have anything dealing with trees, landscaping, design matters?
The only issue was the tree protection of existing trees adjacent to the line of disturbance. And so I had some emails with the applicant to clarify exactly what that meant. And I saw in the resolution that is a whereas. But I do think it should be a condition. It should be on all the pertinent plans. That way we can ensure that it will get done.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll discuss that, how to make that change in the resolution. What was there a resolution on the dead maple tree or allegedly dead maple tree or dying maple tree?
Well, they said that they're not taking it down. And even though trees may be dying or dead, they are still considered removals. So they say that they are not removing any trees. And that the canopy of that tree, though it's in close proximity to the construction entrance, it doesn't have much of a canopy. So the drip line is very narrow.
Is that drip line going to be representative of what you'd need to do to protect that tree's roots?
The tree is not the healthiest. That would have to be discussed, I think.
Okay,
We would just protect it. So the drip line, wherever that is, we just protect it. That's the solution for that tree, so we can evaluate it for the spring or summertime if it actually is there. But we're not gonna.
okay. I may be remembering this wrong, but Susan, I thought I'm not sure if it was that tree or something different, and maybe this was in the context of the construction entrance conversation. Was there a tree that needed maybe a little hand digging around if it was too close to disturbance with the root systems going to be damaged by something, or I could be.
I don't think that's this
That's not this
application.
application.
That's
Okay.
1310 Flagler.
Okay,
It's in the corner of the house.
okay, so since this tree is staying, we need a tree protection plan we need it as a condition in the resolution, and we need it marked on the plans.
No,
Is that-
we don't, because there are no removals, there is no
Oh.
tree preservation plan.
Okay,
But the trees that are in close proximity do need tree protection around it.
okay,
As indicated on their sheet 2 of 2, they've included it on that second sheet.
right,
So, and I gave a thorough description also to the homeowner to clarify any questions.
okay. Is anybody on the planning?
Is the comment then that with regard to this moving the whereas and all this, is it's on some of the plans, but it needs to be on all the plans. Is that what we're saying?
Well, what's happened is I had provided a stormwater mitigation plan, a tree protection plan. I'm gonna take those plans out, and I'm gonna replace them with the engineer's plan that are gonna be attached to my plans for the contractor and also for the building. So there's no confusion, because I can't have both plans, because some of them are different than what the engineer's showing. So I'm gonna take my plans out, put the engineer's plans in, and we'll have it as one complete set.
Okay, yeah, because I think the comment was to make sure that the guys who are building it see it on the plans.
Right, you can't expect them to read resolutions and
And that the tree protection is one of the first things that needs to go in. So it needs to be on a plan, the first plan that contractors see. Usually that's demolition plan.
Yeah, so what we'll do is have the site plan on top of my plan, so we'll have the engineering plans first, and then the architectural plans behind it. So that will be the first thing that they do see.
okay, anybody else on the planning board have any comments, questions, observations, is there any other open item on this application? Are we ready to talk about the draft resolution? Okay. So Susan's point was well taken. The next to the last whereas clause on page 2 refers to a tree protection detail must be present. I mean, I guess we could leave it there and then make it condition number 5 at the end. Does that make sense? So we're not, it's sort of going to be in 2 places then, but I don't think that's a problem. So I think we would just take the wording. The applicant shall provide tree protection detail.
Design site and construction drawings.
I'm sorry, Bill, you're gonna have to speak up a little.
I'm just recapitulating what it said.
Okay,
Yes.
Present on all design site and construction drawings. That's
right, so we're just gonna copy that information. Applicant shall provide that a tree protection detail, or just a tree protection detail must be present on all design, site, and construction drawings.
It's not a detail that needs to be on, I mean, it's also on the drawing. The tree protection, a tree protection detail traditionally is what they have on sheet 2 of 2. It's a little diagram showing how a tree needs to be protected. But that is just showing, indicating how in the field a tree is protected. But on the construction drawings and site drawings, you really need to have the tree protection itself indicated on the plan.
So if we just remove that word detail, is that going to make this clearer?
I would say tree protection and a tree protection detail.
Or you could say tree protection plans and specifications. That would be kind of
Anybody else have any?
contractor speak.
But if you look at what the image, the drawing that's on their sheet 2 of 2, it is called a tree protection detail. So I think it's best to keep the verbiage consistent.
So we're saying a tree protection detail and tree protection plan
Tree protection,
and tree protection.
tree protection and a tree protection detail must be present on all design, site, and construction drawings.
Did somebody get that?
Tree protection
Yeah.
and tree protection
Instead
detail.
of tree protection plan, just call it the generic tree
protection.
protection, which is sort of a catch-all, kind of including.
But they're two,
Present on all.
They're 2 separate things.
they're
On
two
all
separate
designs.
things. So if we want to be really specific about what we're asking, I think it's important to mention the 2 separate things. In my opinion.
Okay, and then each of them should be present on all design, site, and construction drawings.
Yes.
Okay. Should we conform that whereas clause on page 2 to the same language that we just discussed as a condition? Because that just has a tree protection detail.
That would be my recommendation, just to,
Makes sense to be
Mhm.
consistent.
Okay, so those two sentences will be basically the same. Any other comments, questions on this? I think we caught the other boilerplate language for stormwater maintenance and as-built surveys and things like that. So, all right, and if there's no other discussion, does somebody want to make a motion to adopt the planning board resolution as we've just discussed amending it?
I will make a motion to adopt the resolution.
Second? Bill, okay. So we'll take roll. Bill? Mallory?
Aye.
Seamus is recused. Richard?
Yes.
And I vote yes.
Great.
And we're good. Thanks very much.
Those two sets of final plans you talked about, just drop them up to our office because we'll put the package together for the building inspector to review now.
2 full sets.
Yep, 2 full sets of that.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you, everybody. And I think there's no other business to discuss tonight.
Okay.
So I'll move to adjourn the meeting. Anybody wants to second that?
Second,
Okay, we're out of that. Stay safe,
Wow.
everybody, in the rain.
Good night.
Thanks.
Okay. It's gotten worse outside.